I should have known something was wrong when Mom texted family meeting with 3 exclamation points. She never uses exclamation points. Not for birthdays, not for Christmas, not even for Ava's engagement announcements, all 3 of them. My name is Esme, and this is the story of how my family stole my future, and how I took it back with interest. I'd just finished my last tutoring session of the day, helping a freshman understand derivatives. Math always made sense to me, clean, logical, predictable. Unlike family dynamics, the kitchen was unusually quiet when I walked in, despite everyone being there. Mum sat straight-backed at the head of the table, Dad slouched beside her, and Ava, my perfect older sister, practically vibrated with barely contained excitement. "Sit down, dear," Mum said, using her society dinner voice. "We need to discuss something important." I dropped my backpack and slid into a chair, already feeling my stomach knot. The last time we had a family meeting, they announced Ava's 2nd divorce. "As you know," Mom continued, "Ava and Yusuf are planning their wedding for this summer. It's going to be spectacular." She smiled at Ava, who preened, "A proper yacht ceremony followed by a reception at the Marina Club." "Okay," I said, wondering why this required a meeting. I'd already heard about the yacht thing at least 50 times. "Well," Dad cleared his throat, still not meeting my eyes. "The thing is, Princess, these kinds of events, they're not cheap." "The yacht alone is 40,000, Ava chimed in, examining her manicure. "But Yusuf's family expects nothing less." The number hit me like a punch to the gut. 40,000. Exactly the amount in my college fund. "No," I whispered. But I already knew. "Now, Esme." Mum's voice took on that patronising tone I'd grown to hate. "We've thought this through carefully. You're smart, you'll figure something out. Community college is always an option. But Ava, she has real potential here. This marriage could set her up for life. Like the last 2 did." The words slipped out before I could stop them. Ava's eyes narrowed. "At least I have prospects. What's your plan? Teach math to losers forever?" "That's enough," Dad said weakly, but nobody listened. "We're not asking your permission," Mom said firmly. "The decision is made. The money has already been transferred." My entire body went cold. You already did it? Without even telling me?" "Oh," Ava brightened suddenly. "But if you can scrape together enough for the bridesmaid dress, it's only 2,000. You can still be part of the wedding party. I mean, if you want to." I looked at each of their faces. Mom's stern certainty, Dad's guilty avoidance, Ava's smug smile. These people were supposed to be my family. They were supposed to believe in me. "When?" My voice came out steadier than I felt. "When did you decide this?" "Last week," Mom replied. "After Yusuf's parents insisted on the yacht venue, we had to act quickly to secure the date." I stood up slowly, my chair scraping against the floor. "I've been working since I was 15 to add to that fund. 3 years of weekends and summers. My money is in there too." "Don't be dramatic," Ava rolled her eyes. "It's not like you had real plans for it anyway." "But I did. I had acceptance letters from 3 universities sitting in my email. I had a dream of studying applied mathematics, of breaking free from this suffocating house, of proving I was more than their backup child." "Esme," Mum's voice hardened, "sit down. We're not finished." "Yes," I said quietly, "we are." I walked out of the kitchen, up the stairs, into my room. I heard them calling after me, but I didn't stop. With trembling fingers, I opened my laptop and navigated to my university application portal. One by one, I declined each acceptance. They disappeared from the screen like dying stars. Then I opened a new tab and typed "Most Prestigious Academic Scholarships USA." The results loaded. A list of opportunities I'd never considered before. I didn't need their money. I didn't need their approval. What I needed was to show them exactly what they'd thrown away. My phone buzzed. A text from Philip. Hey, how'd the family meeting go? I stared at the message for a long moment before replying, They took everything, but they're about to learn that was their biggest mistake. Downstairs I could hear Ava laughing about wedding flowers. Mom was probably already calling her friends to brag about the yacht. Dad would be in his study, pretending nothing had happened. Fine, let them have their perfect wedding fantasy. I had work to do. I opened the first scholarship application and began to type. They want me to write her vows, I told Philip, staring into my now cold coffee. Can you believe that? She said, and I quote, You're good with words and I'm too busy picking centerpieces. We were sitting in our usual corner of the campus coffee shop where I'd picked up extra barista shifts. Between that, tutoring, and my freelance math problem-solving gig, I was barely keeping my head above water. But every spare moment went into scholarship applications. Philip leaned back in his chair, his expression darkening. Tell her to write her own damn vows. You're not her personal Hallmark card. I did. I smiled grimly. She went crying to Mom about how unsupportive I'm being. Now I'm selfish and jealous of her special day. God, your sister's a piece of work. He paused, watching me carefully. How many applications have you submitted so far? 17. The Hughes Bradley is the big one. Full ride plus living expenses. But it's basically impossible to get. Nothing's impossible for spite-motivated Esme, he grinned. The bell above the door chimed and my stomach dropped as Ava swept in with her best friend Vanessa in tow. Both wore designer workout gear despite clearly not having exercised. Esme, Ava called out too loudly. There you are. Mum's been trying to reach you about the cake tasting. I'm working, I said flatly, gesturing to my apron. You're sitting and chatting, she countered, sliding uninvited into our booth. Vanessa followed, forcing Philip to scoot over. Anyway, we need you there. Someone has to take notes, and you're so detail-oriented. Translation, you need a servant, Philip muttered. Ava's perfectly shaped eyebrows drew together. Excuse me? Nothing, I cut in quickly. Ava, I can't. I have 3 scholarship essays due this week. Still on about college, she sighed dramatically. Mom said you should take a gap year anyway. Help with the wedding, figure out what you really want. I know what I want. Do you? She leaned forward, her voice dropping to a stage whisper. Because from where I'm sitting, you're just angry and trying to prove something. It's not attractive, Esme. Neither is being on your 3rd marriage before 30, Philip shot back. Vanessa choked on her drink. Ava's face flushed red. You know what? I stood up, untying my apron. My shift's over. I have an essay to write about overcoming adversity. Thanks for giving me such rich material to work with. Wait, Vanessa called as I headed for the door. Before you go, did you hear back from Yusuf about postponing the rehearsal dinner? He's been weird about scheduling lately. Ava's head snapped around. What do you mean, weird? Oh, just... Vanessa shifted uncomfortably. Cooper mentioned running into him at the golf club, said he seemed stressed about something. Cooper? I paused. Your ex, Cooper? It's not... We just talk sometimes, Ava said quickly, too quickly, for closure. I caught the flash of guilt in her eyes, the way her hand instinctively went to her phone. Interesting. Right, I said slowly. Well, good luck with the cake tasting. I'm sure whatever you pick will be perfect. Outside, Philip caught up with me. Did you see that, when Vanessa mentioned Cooper? Yeah. I pulled out my phone, opening my scholarship essay draft. Hey, want to help me polish this? It's about the impact of betrayal on personal growth. He grinned. You're evil. I love it. That night, I sat cross-legged on my bed, surrounded by application materials. Mum's voice drifted up from downstairs, gushing to someone about yacht decorations. My phone buzzed with a text from Ava. Fine, I'll write my own stupid vows, but you're still doing the wedding toast. I ignored it, focusing instead on the essay before me. The prompt asked about a defining moment that shaped our character. My fingers hovered over the keyboard before I began. Trust is a currency we're taught to invest in family. But what happens when those meant to protect your dreams become the ones who destroy them? This is a story about betrayal, resilience, and the cost of believing in yourself when no one else will. 3 hours and 5 drafts later, I hit submit on the Hughes Bradley application. As if on cue, a notification popped up on my phone, a social media alert I'd set for Ava's name. She'd been tagged in a photo at the golf club from 2 days ago. In the background, barely visible but unmistakable, was Cooper. I saved the photo, started a new document, and labelled it Plan B, because sometimes karma needs a little help, and I was getting very good at helping it along. My phone buzzed again, Mom demanding I come down to discuss bridesmaid duties. I turned it off and went back to work. They thought they could write off my future. I was about to show them exactly how wrong they were. It took 3 days of careful digging to find what I needed. Ava wasn't just talking to Cooper sometimes. They were meeting regularly at the country club, always when Yusuf was tied up with his development projects. But it was their late-night messages that told the real story. "Found something interesting?" Philip asked, sliding into the library seat next to me. I angled my laptop screen to show him the screenshot Vanessa had accidentally sent to our group chat, instead of just Ava, Cooper and Ava, looking very cosy at a hidden corner table. "Vanessa deleted it seconds later," I said, "but not before I saved it." "Holy shit!" He leaned closer. "Are you going to tell Yusuf?" I shook my head. "Better. I'm going to let him find out himself." My phone lit up with a text from Mom. "Wedding planner meeting in an hour. Mandatory family attendance." "Go," Philip urged. "Keep your cover. I'll finish setting up the anonymous email account." The wedding planner's office was all white furniture and fresh flowers. Ava sat in the centre of the room like a queen holding court, while Mom fawned over fabric swatches. Dad stared at his phone, probably checking his dwindling bank balance. "Nice of you to join us," Ava said sharply. "We're discussing the yacht layout." "Fascinating," I muttered, taking the furthest seat possible. The planner, a woman with too bright lipstick, spread out some diagrams. "Now, about the ceremony positioning. Yusuf's father has some concerns about—" Ava's phone chimed. Her face went pale as she read whatever message had come through. "Everything okay, sweetie?" Mum asked. "Fine," Ava snapped, typing furiously. "Just wedding stress." I hid my smile. Right on schedule, the anonymous tip about suspicious meetings at the country club would be hitting Yusuf's inbox, along with some carefully selected screenshots of late-night messages between his fiancée and her ex. The planner droned on about seating arrangements while I watched Ava grow increasingly agitated. Her phone kept buzzing. Finally, she stood up abruptly. "I need to make a call," she announced, hurrying out. I excused myself to use the bathroom, following quietly. Through the crack of the fire exit door, I could hear her panicked voice. "Cooper, you need to delete everything." "No, I don't care if you miss me. Yusuf's asking questions. Of course I still want the wedding. Do you know how much money—" She stopped short, realising what she'd said. I pulled out my phone and pressed record. Mum found me later that evening, organising scholarship documents in my room. "Ava's upset," she said, hovering in the doorway. "Apparently Yusuf is having doubts about the wedding date." "Really?" I kept my voice neutral. "That must be stressful. It would help if you showed more support. This wedding is important for all of us. Like my education was supposed to be." She sighed that martyred sigh she'd perfected over the years. "We've been through this. Sometimes in life we have to make sacrifices for family." Funny how I'm the only one sacrificing. "Actually," she brightened suddenly, "I have good news. If you help more with the wedding, we might be able to spare a few thousand for community college courses." I looked up from my papers. Too late. I already have other plans. "What plans?" As if on cue, my email notification chimed. I opened it, scanning quickly, then smiled. I've been shortlisted for the Hughes Bradley Academic Excellence Award. The what? Only the most prestigious scholarship in the state. Full interview panel next week. I met her eyes. You should Google it. The grant amount is quite impressive. Her expression shifted from dismissal to calculation in seconds. Why didn't you tell us you were applying for scholarships? Like you told me about taking my college fund? Before she could respond, Ava's voice shrieked from downstairs. He wants to postpone. 6 months minimum. Mom rushed out, leaving me alone with my victory. I pulled out my phone to text Philip. Phase 1 complete. Yusuf's having doubts, Ava's spiralling, and I just made the Hughes Bradley shortlist. His response came quickly. Karma's got nothing on you, but you know they'll try to take credit if you win, right? I glanced at my scholarship essay, the one about family betrayal that had caught the committee's attention. Let them try. This time I'm writing my own story. Downstairs I could hear Ava crying about wedding deposits and reputation. Mom was probably already calling her society friends to do damage control. Perfect timing for phase 2. The local newspaper article came out on a Tuesday. Small town student among elite Hughes Bradley finalists. They'd used my senior photo, the one where I actually smiled, the one Mom had called too serious for the family Christmas card. Have you seen this? A printed copy slapped down on the coffee shop table where Philip and I were studying. Mum stood there, clutching her designer handbag like a shield. Why didn't you tell us it was this big? Would it have mattered 3 weeks ago? Don't be difficult, Esme. This is wonderful news. I've already called the country club. They want to do a feature on you for the newsletter. I looked up from my textbook. The same country club where Ava's been meeting her ex? Mum's smile flickered. That's just a misunderstanding. Yusuf and Ava are working things out. Sure they are. Actually, she pressed on, sliding into the booth uninvited, I had an idea. For your final interview, they mentioned something about a speech. They did. Well, I thought you could talk about the importance of family support, how we've always encouraged your academic pursuits. Philip choked on his coffee. I kicked him under the table. That's an interesting suggestion, I said carefully. Almost as interesting as last month's family meeting. Mum's face tightened. Esme, what happened with the wedding fund was a practical decision. But look how well it turned out. You're achieving things on your own merit, because you left me no choice. Mrs. Wilson, Philip cut in, his voice dripping with fake sweetness, didn't you tell Esme she should consider being a waitress instead of wasting time on university applications? Mom stood up abruptly. I never said that exactly. Anyway, the television station wants to do a preliminary interview tomorrow. Wear something nice, not your usual this, she gestured vaguely at my clothes, and please try to sound grateful. After she left, Philip turned to me. Television interview? The Hughes Bradley Committee likes publicity. Apparently my essay about overcoming family betrayal through academic excellence really resonated. They have no idea it's still happening in real time, do they? My phone buzzed. A text from Ava. Mum says you're going to be on TV. Don't forget to mention your successful sister's upcoming society wedding. I showed Philip the message. Should I tell her Yusuf just cancelled the yacht deposit? How do you even know that? I might have set up email alerts for cancellations at the marina. I shrugged. Plus, Vanessa drunk texted me last night about Ava's meltdown over it. The next day, the TV crew set up in our living room. Mum had rearranged everything to hide Dad's worn armchair and Ava's scattered wedding magazines. She'd even put out fresh flowers. So Esme, the reporter began, tell us about your journey to the Hughes Bradley finals. I smiled directly into the camera. It's been enlightening. Sometimes life forces you to stand on your own feet, usually when you least expect it. Your family must be very proud. Oh, yes, Mom interjected from off-camera. We've always known Esme was special. Really? I turned to her. Is that why you suggested community college might be more my speed? The reporter perked up. There's a story there. No, Mum said quickly. Esme, remember what we discussed about family support? I faced the camera again. You know what? There is a story. It's about believing in yourself when no one else will. About turning betrayal into motivation. Cut, the reporter called. This is gold. Can we explore that angle more? Mum's face had gone pale. Behind her, Ava appeared in the doorway, looking thunderous. Actually, I said, I should save the full story for the award ceremony. I hear it's going to be broadcast live. Later that night, as clips from my interview started circulating on local social media, Ava cornered me in the kitchen. You think you're so clever, she hissed, but you're just jealous. You always have been. Jealous of what? Your third failed engagement? She grabbed my arm. Yusuf and I are fine. We're just reorganizing things. Like you're reorganizing things with Cooper? Her face went white. How did you... Next time you meet him at the country club, I pulled free of her grip. Try not to sit near windows. Anyone could take a photo. You wouldn't dare. You're right, I smiled. I wouldn't. But karma's funny that way. It has its own timing. My phone chimed, an email from the Hughes Bradley Committee about the final round. The subject line read, Ceremony details, live broadcast confirmed. Better start writing your speech, Ava spat, storming out. Oh, I already had, and unlike her wedding vows, every word of it was true. Make it authentic, Mary Palmer said, adjusting her glasses as she reviewed my draft speech. The committee chose you because your story resonated. Don't hold back now. I shifted in the leather chair across from her desk. As head of the scholarship committee, Mary had become an unexpected ally, scheduling extra mentoring sessions under the guise of speech preparation. My family might be watching, I said. Good, she handed back the papers. Let them watch, let them learn. Before I could respond, my phone lit up with multiple texts from Vanessa. Emergency, Ava's bridal shower drama, need you here now. Go. Mary waved me off. But remember, authenticity wins over diplomacy every time. I found Vanessa outside the country club's private room, looking frazzled. Music and forced laughter drifted through the doors. Thank God, she grabbed my arm. Ava's 3 champagnes in and getting scary. Yusuf's mother just called to say she's too busy to attend. Shocking, I muttered, following her inside. Ava held court at the centre table, surrounded by expensive gifts and nervous-looking bridesmaids. Her mascara was slightly smudged. Finally, she called out. My baby sister decided to grace us with her presence. Too busy being a genius? Actually, nobody cares about your scholarship, she snapped, then immediately forced a laugh. I'm kidding. We're so proud. Right, girls? The bridesmaids nodded mechanically. 2 hours of painful games and passive-aggressive gift-opening later, most guests had fled. Vanessa, increasingly tipsy, cornered me by the dessert table. You know what's funny? She slurred, glancing around conspiratorially. This whole thing is your fault. Excuse me? The wedding? Ava only pushed for the yacht thing after you got those university acceptance letters. She hiccuped. Said she couldn't let you outshine her. Told your parents you'd probably drop out anyway, waste their money. My hand tightened around my glass. She what? Oh, shit. Vanessa's eyes widened. I wasn't supposed to tell you that. She made me promise. After she convinced your parents. Convinced them to do what? To give her your fund. Vanessa looked close to tears. She said you deserved it, getting all high and mighty with your academic achievements. Said she needed it more. Across the room, Ava was berating a waiter about warm champagne. Mom hovered nearby, trying to smooth things over. When? My voice came out eerily calm. When did she start planning this? Right after your MIT acceptance email. Vanessa grabbed another champagne. She saw it open on your laptop when she borrowed it that weekend. Got scared you'd actually leave, be successful, so she gestured vaguely, handled it. The room seemed to tilt slightly. All those months I'd blamed my parents, and meanwhile, Ava had orchestrated everything. "Vanessa!" Ava's sharp voice cut across the room. "Stop monopolizing my sister." "Coming!" Vanessa stumbled away, then turned back. "Don't tell her I told you. She'll kill me." I walked over to where Mom was now attempting to salvage the gift-wrapping paper from Ava's destruction. "Need help?" I asked. "Oh, would you?" Mom smiled, relieved. "And maybe talk to your sister? She's been so stressed since Yusuf's family started acting strange." "Sure." I gathered some ribbons. "Hey, Mum, quick question. Who actually suggested using my college fund for the wedding first? You or Ava?" Her hands stilled. We all discussed it." "Really? When?" "Esme, what does it matter now? You're doing so well on your own." "The scholarship..." "Just answer the question." She wouldn't meet my eyes. "Ava mentioned that perhaps university wasn't the best path for you, that you seemed uncertain." "Uncertain?" I laughed quietly. "I had 3 acceptance letters. She said you were having doubts, that you'd be happier starting smaller, staying close to home." I stood up, letting the ribbons fall. "And you believed her, without even asking me." "Esme!" "It's fine." I pulled out my phone, opening my email. I just needed to confirm something for my speech, the one that's being broadcast live next week. Her face paled. "What are you planning to say?" "The truth." I headed for the door, pausing briefly. "By the way, you might want to check Ava's phone, specifically her messages with Cooper, before Yusuf's family does." Outside, I called Philip. "How was the shower?" he asked. "Educational." I started walking, needing to move. "Remember how we wondered who really orchestrated taking my college fund?" "No way!" "Yes way!" "And now I know exactly how I'm ending my speech." I smiled grimly. "They wanted me to be authentic. They're about to get their wish." Behind me, I could hear Ava's voice rising in another champagne-fueled tantrum. Soon, she'd have much bigger problems than warm drinks and missing future in-laws. The countdown to the ceremony had begun. The Hughes Bradley Ceremony Hall buzzed with anticipation. Local news crews set up their equipment while academic dignitaries mingled with donors. I stood backstage, watching through a gap in the curtains as my family filed into their reserved front row seats. "Nervous?" Philip appeared beside me, adjusting his tie. "Not anymore." I showed him my phone, another series of desperate texts from Ava about Yusuf's growing suspicions. "Some things matter more than nerves. Your sister looks like she's about to explode." He wasn't wrong. Ava sat rigid in her chair, compulsively checking her phone. Mum kept trying to fix her hair while Dad stared straight ahead, probably calculating the cost of cancelling wedding vendors. 5 minutes, Miss Wilson," a stage manager called out. Mary Palmer approached, clipboard in hand. "Remember what we discussed. Your story deserves to be heard." The ceremony began with the usual speeches, board members congratulating themselves, donors highlighting their generosity. Finally, the committee chairman stepped up to the podium. "This year's recipient exemplifies everything the Hughes Bradley Award represents. Through extraordinary circumstances, she maintained academic excellence while demonstrating remarkable resilience." Mom was already half standing, ready to start, accepting congratulations. Ava's phone buzzed again. She jumped like she'd been shocked. "Please welcome Esme Wilson." The applause felt distant as I walked onto the stage. Under the bright lights, I could see every detail of my family's faces. Mom's proud smile, too little, too late. Dad's awkward clapping, Ava's barely concealed scowl. "Thank you," I began, unfolding my speech. "I wasn't supposed to be here today. In fact, I was told I had no potential." The audience quieted. In the front row, Mom's smile froze. 3 months ago, I had a different future planned. I had acceptance letters from 3 universities. I had a college fund I'd contributed to since I was 15. I had dreams. Ava shifted uncomfortably. Her phone lit up again, probably another message from Cooper. Then I learned an important lesson about family. Sometimes the people meant to support you are the ones who tear you down. Sometimes your own sister, I paused, meeting Ava's eyes directly, decides your future is worth sacrificing for her third wedding. A murmur ran through the crowd. Mum half rose, as if to stop me, but Dad pulled her back down. My college fund was taken without my knowledge or consent. $40,000 redirected to pay for a yacht wedding venue. When I objected, I was told to consider waitressing, to be realistic, to know my place. The news cameras moved closer. This wasn't the usual grateful scholarship speech they'd expected. But here's what my family didn't understand. When you strip someone of everything, you also strip away their reason to hold back. When you tell someone they're nothing, you give them the freedom to become anything. Ava's phone buzzed again. She grabbed her purse, looking ready to bolt. So I applied for every scholarship I could find. I worked 3 jobs. I turned betrayal into fuel. And now I'm standing here, proving that sometimes the people who try to break you actually make you unbreakable. In the audience, Mary Palmer nodded approvingly. Mum had her head in her hands. This award isn't just about academic achievement. It's about surviving when the odds are stacked against you. It's about... Ava suddenly stood up, phone pressed to her ear, and rushed toward the exit. Through the open door, I caught a glimpse of Yusuf standing there, his face thunderous. It's about karma, I continued smoothly, and justice, and learning that success is the best revenge. The applause that followed was deafening. As I accepted the award, I saw Mom trying to follow Ava while simultaneously maintaining her social composure. Dad just looked defeated. Backstage afterward, Philip hugged me tight. That was beautiful, and Yusuf showing up, perfect timing. Almost like someone made sure he knew about the ceremony, I smiled, and about certain messages on Ava's phone. You're terrifying. I love it. My phone buzzed. A text from Vanessa. OMG, Yusuf just called everything off. Ava's hysterical. Your mom's having a meltdown in the bathroom. Karma's funny that way, I said, showing Philip the message. Sometimes it needs a little push, but once it starts rolling... Through the curtain, I could still hear the buzz of conversation, the news crews packing up their equipment. My story would be all over local media by tonight. Ready to face them? Philip asked. I tucked the scholarship certificate into my folder, right next to my new university acceptance letter. They're the ones who need to be ready. This was just the beginning. The real show was about to start. The aftermath exploded faster than even I had anticipated. By midnight, my speech had gone viral on 3 different social platforms. Local news ran with the headline, Scholar exposes family betrayal in acceptance speech. But it was the country club gossip circuit that delivered the final blow. They're calling it the scandal of the season, Vanessa told me over coffee the next morning. Her eyes were red from crying. Yusuf's family is demanding their gifts back. The yacht company won't refund the deposit, and those messages between Ava and Cooper, all of them got leaked, I asked innocently. Someone anonymously forwarded everything to Yusuf's entire family, even the intimate ones. She shuddered. Ava's locked herself in her room. Your mom had to cancel her charity board meeting because nobody would sit with her. My phone buzzed. Dad calling for the 5th time. I declined it. You know what's crazy? Vanessa continued, stirring her latte. People keep sharing clips of your speech, talking about how inspiring it is. Like rich kids are actually posting about giving their college funds back to their siblings. I smiled. Karma's going mainstream. The bell above the coffee shop door chimed. Mum walked in, looking distinctly unput together for the first time in my memory. When she spotted me, she made a beeline for our table. Esme, she said, her voice tight, we need to talk. I'm busy. Your sister is devastated. The wedding is cancelled. Our reputation is exactly what you deserve, I cut in. How's it feel to be the family everyone's talking about? Vanessa suddenly found her phone fascinating. We made a mistake, Mom admitted, sliding into an empty chair. We should have discussed the money with you, but to humiliate us publicly, to destroy your sister's engagement. I didn't destroy anything. Ava did that herself, with Cooper's help, of course. She told me what you did, setting up that email account, tracking her messages. Like she tracked my university acceptances. I leaned forward. Yeah, Vanessa told me all about that. How Ava saw my MIT letter and decided to sabotage my future. How she convinced you I wasn't worth investing in. Mum's face went pale. That's not... She wouldn't check your phone, I said. Someone just posted screenshots of her messages about it in the country club Facebook group. Fascinating reading. As if on cue, her phone started buzzing with notifications. She pulled it out, scrolling with shaking hands. I watched her expression crumble as she read. Oh, God, she whispered. I have to go. Vanessa stood up abruptly. Ava's calling. Again. After she left, Mum looked at me with tears in her eyes. We can fix this. Return the money. Too late. I start at MIT in the fall. Full ride, thanks to Hughes Bradley. But your sister has 2 failed marriages, a cancelled 3rd engagement, and a leaked affair to deal with. Sounds like a her problem. We're still your family. No, I stood up, gathering my things. You're the people who taught me that success is the best revenge. Congratulations. I learned that lesson perfectly. Outside, Philip was waiting. How'd it go? Better than expected. Want to help me pack for college? My phone buzzed again, this time with a message from Ava. You ruined everything. I hope you're happy. I typed back, actually I am. BTW Cooper just went live on Instagram. Might want to check that out. We drove past the country club on our way home. The parking lot was full, probably an emergency board meeting about the scandal. Dad's car was there, no doubt trying to salvage what remained of their social standing. You know what's funny? I told Philip as we passed. They thought taking my college fund was the end of my story. Turns out it was just the beginning. Remind me never to cross you, he laughed. My phone lit up with a news alert. Local wedding scandal exposes social elite. Full story tonight at 6. Perfect timing. Just when the country club happy hour would be starting. I wondered if they'd be serving karma on the rocks. Ready for the next chapter? Philip asked. I looked at my phone one last time before turning it off. Mum was still typing, probably crafting another plea for family unity. Ava's Instagram had gone private. Dad's name was trending in local Twitter discussions about toxic family dynamics. You know what? I smiled. For the first time in my life, I actually am. The sun was setting over the country club as we drove away, casting long shadows over the perfectly manicured lawn where Ava's wedding was supposed to happen. But I wasn't looking back anymore. Some people collect seashells or stamps. I collected consequences, and my collection was finally complete. Last box, Philip announced, setting down a container labelled books in my new dorm room. Want to grab dinner before I head back? Through the window, I could see other freshmen and their families unloading cars, sharing tearful hugs. My own family's absence felt less like a wound now and more like a clean break. Actually, I pulled out my phone, I have one last thing to do first. Mum's latest voicemail played on speaker. Esme, please, the country club board is meeting tomorrow about our membership. Your father's business partners are asking questions. Can't we just talk? Still no response? Philip asked. Nope, but I did get this. I showed him an email from Vanessa. Ava moved back in with your parents. Cooper ghosted her after the Instagram Live confession. She's telling everyone she's finding herself, but mostly she's just drinking wine and watching reality TV. Karma's really putting in overtime with your family. My laptop pinged. A news alert about Dad's development company losing investors after the scandal. Apparently, social humiliation was bad for business. Ready? Philip gestured to my phone. I nodded, opening my drafts folder. The message I'd been crafting for days sat there waiting. Not an apology, they didn't deserve that. But maybe something like closure. To Mom, Dad, Ava. Subject, goodbye. You taught me 3 valuable lessons. 1, never trust family with your dreams. 2, success is the best revenge. 3, sometimes losing everything is how you find yourself. Thank you for these gifts. They were expensive, about $40,000 worth, but ultimately priceless. Don't contact me again. Don't try to explain or apologize. Your actions spoke louder than any words could. Mum, enjoy explaining to your society friends why your daughter's viral speech keeps resurfacing in social justice discussions. Dad, good luck rebuilding your business reputation. Maybe start with rebuilding your backbone. Ava, I hear 3rd time's the charm with marriages. Oh wait, I'm blocking your numbers after this. Consider it my wedding gift to myself. The freedom from toxic family ties. Esme P.S. The country club board might be interested in those screenshots of Ava admitting she orchestrated the whole college fund theft. Just saying. Send it, Philip asked. I hit the button. Sent. How does it feel? Before I could answer, my phone exploded with notifications. Mom calling, Dad texting, Ava sending multiple messages in all caps. I blocked each number one by one. With each block, my smile grew wider. It feels like... I looked around my dorm room at the future I'd carved out despite them. Victory. Miss Wilson? A knock at the door revealed Mary Palmer. Sorry to interrupt your moving in, but the university paper wants to do a follow-up story on your Hughes Bradley speech. Apparently it's sparked quite a movement about family financial abuse. Of course it has, Philip grinned. Also, Mary continued, we've had several donors reach out about establishing scholarships specifically for students whose families have diverted their college funds. They're calling it the Esme Initiative. I sat down on my newly made bed, letting that sink in. My revenge hadn't just changed my life, it was going to help others escape similar situations. Would you be interested in consulting on the program? Mary asked. Absolutely. After she left, Philip helped me hang up my last decoration, a framed copy of the viral news article about my speech. You know what's wild? He said. Your family thought they were writing you off as worthless. Instead, they accidentally wrote themselves into infamy. My laptop pinged again. An email from Vanessa. Your mum just got voted off the charity board. Ava's crying about being uninvited from Sophia's wedding. Dad's office is half empty. But, hey, at least they still have each other, right? BTW, Cooper's engaged to someone else already. Karma's really out here doing the Lord's work. I closed my laptop, ready to leave the drama behind. Want to grab that dinner? I'm thinking somewhere expensive. I've got a full scholarship to celebrate. Walking across campus, I spotted other students watching me, whispering about the girl from that speech. But their whispers didn't hurt anymore. They were just echoes of a story I'd already finished writing. Hey, Philip nudged me. You did it. You really did it. No, I corrected him, looking up at the setting sun. They did it. I just made sure everyone knew exactly what they'd done. Sometimes the best revenge isn't just living well, it's living spectacularly while those who wronged you watch their carefully constructed facades crumble to dust. And I was just getting started.